Today I'm reviewing the Pimax Crystal Super, and not only is this the highest resolution consumer VR headset ever released, but somehow it's also the most user-friendly device ever made by Pimax. And that, for anyone familiar with the history of Pimax headsets, is already saying a lot. So how did they pull it off? Is it finally time to take Pimax seriously as the mainstream PC VR option? Let's talk setup, clarity, comfort, performance, and quirks, and why this headset has me rethinking my entire relationship with VR.
Hey, a quick note from future Tetiana here. You can hear that my voice sounds different because I am sick, but I wanted to record this short segment after the news broke about Pimax's controversial secret incentive program. So I wanted to be clear that I was never a part of any of such programs with Pimax. I have reviewed Pimax headsets in the past, and I've very often been quite critical of this company and of their headsets. They know about this. We've had our conversations, and all my reviews have always been fully honest and independent. I had no idea about this program, and I filmed this review before I knew about the scandal, and for you to have this context in mind, this is a fully independent review. It is not influenced by any incentives. Even the headset itself is not an incentive because I will be sending it back. It is a tester unit that I will not be keeping. Please continue watching.
But before we get into it, I would really appreciate it if you could give this video a like and subscribe to this channel, because this helps channel growth and visibility more than you can imagine. It will help me make even more awesome content like this one for you guys. Let's talk size and comfort. Historically, Pimax headsets have looked massive, and to be fair, the Crystal Super is still a big headset. It's bigger than compared to something like Quest 3. But compared to Crystal and Crystal Lite, this is such a noticeable improvement. The headset is smaller, it looks better, it actually looks kind of elegant and futuristic, not like a tech brick strapped to your face like before. The weight is better distributed now, and it is much easier to position it comfortably on your face. Believe me, I am very hard to please when it comes to headsets comfort, and Pimax never really managed to do that. Until Crystal Super, I could easily play for over an hour without needing to adjust or take breaks. The face cushion feels good, and the head strap balances the weight well enough so that I don't feel like I need to adjust it all the time, and the headset doesn't feel front heavy. I wouldn't call it feather light, of course, but it's finally within the realm of what I'd call comfortable. Well done. Setup wise, this was no exaggeration the easiest Pimax headset I've ever used. Plug in the DisplayPort, the USB, and the power, charge the controllers, update the Pimax software and the headset's firmware, and that's it. No SteamVR hacks, no tracking reset, no obscure settings buried 5 menus deep. It just launched. It was immediately recognized by my SteamVR, so no issues there. You just need to remember that your Pimax add-on is enabled and not blocked, because for some reason my Steam blocked it, but that happens for no reason. Inside-out tracking worked smoothly. I tested in multiple games, and the experience was pretty solid. For those who want to go even further, there will be an optional Lighthouse faceplate. But a heads up, it's new and smaller design, not compatible with Crystal or Crystal Lite. So if you're upgrading, you will need a new faceplate. And also worth noting, Pimax is offering a $200 discount for those who already bought Crystal Lite and want to upgrade to Crystal Super. So if you do upgrade and you still want to use your base stations instead of the inside-out tracking, then you will need to get a new faceplate when it's available. Now, the lenses deserve their own spotlight. Pimax continues to use their aspheric glass lenses, and in my opinion, they are some of the best aspheric lenses made for any consumer VR headset. They are not slim like pancake lenses, which is partially why the headset is still so large, but they deliver superb clarity with minimal reflections and a really generous sweet spot. I didn't have to constantly move the headset around to find focus, a huge difference compared to many other headsets. Just think about PSVR 2, I always found myself fiddling to stay within that sweet spot. Here I could put on the headset and play without adjusting it. That alone makes the experience feel so much more immersive and honestly polished. Now let's talk about the star of the show. though, the visuals. The version that I tested was the 50 ppd model, which already looks incredible. There will be a 57 ppd version, but frankly, I'm not even sure if it's worth it, because that will come at a somewhat of a sacrifice of the field of view just to get a little bit of a bump in clarity. In my opinion, the 50 ppd already feels next level. Resolution is 3840 by 3840 per eye. That's currently the highest one available in any consumer headset on the market. So I don't think anybody would want to sacrifice FOV to get an even higher clarity. But it's not just about the pixel count, it's about how clean and undistorted the image really looks in this headset. Pimax Crystal Super has visually no distortions. That's what's amazing about it. There's just a tiny bit of blurriness at the edges, but that's probably because of the distance between my eyes and the display. So the closer your eyes are, the better and clearer it looks. I simply didn't want to tighten the headset too much and mash my face into the headset so that I don't get a VR face. The colors are vibrant, rich, punchy. Despite it being the QLED panel and not OLED, the blacks aren't quite OLED deep, but the local dimming helps a lot with the contrast. Compared to the Mega Nexus Micro OLED, yes, you will notice deeper blacks in Micro OLED. But overall, Super looks really stunning. The only downside is if you're observant enough, you will notice some Mura. Mura is the light fuzziness when you look at bright colors, but this is probably the least noticeable Mura that I've seen in a headset that has it. I believe that there are much more distracting visual imperfections that you can find in other headsets, like distortions, blurriness, a small sweet spot, very uncomfortable fit, and those things can break immersion much more than the small Mura that you can see in Pimax Crystal Super. Next, the field of view. The FOV is excellent. It's not quite as wide as 8KX, but a noticeable step up from Pimax Crystal Lite and leagues beyond what you get in something like Mega Nex. It's still lower than they promote, so be careful there. It's definitely not 135 horizontally, but it should be maybe about 115, 120, which I think is excellent. Now, Pimax does this a very Pimaxy thing when they prioritize FOV, even though it comes at the cost of reducing the binocular overlap. And yes, that is true here too. This overlap isn't as generous as in Mega Nex that has a very nice and big overlap, making things very sharp and very easy to process. Yeah, some users may notice it and it could become a little bit distracting, but not terribly. For me, the wider FOV probably outweighs the overlap trade-off. I'm really enjoying and seeing much more of VR when I'm in it. Now, you're probably wondering how much energy and power does this beast require, so let's address this elephant in the room, the performance. This headset definitely demands power. You're going to need RTX 4090 or higher to get the full experience of what this baby can do. And even then, depending on the game, you might need to tweak your settings a bit. For more optimized titles, like some native VR games from, let's say, 2018, you know, your Half-Life Alyx, you'll do fine. But I personally enjoy modded experiences, let's say Oblivion Remastered in VR using UEVR, and my 49 kind of struggled. At this resolution, pushing high frame rates requires a serious horsepower, and if you're running anything below 4090, you'll be leaving a lot on the table. A 4080 might still manage with compromises, but I wouldn't recommend going any lower than that. You would be definitely overpaying for the headset and not getting out of it what it's meant to. That said, when the GPU keeps up, the result is jaw-dropping. This headset definitely demands high-end hardware, but it rewards you for that. It will give you some of the most impressive visuals that you will ever see in PC VR. It's going to spoil you for a very long time. Now, software-wise, this is also a very pleasant surprise to me because this is the most stable Pimax experience I've had. There were no game-breaking bugs, there was no endless troubleshooting. Oh my gosh. There was just one issue. Occasionally, the Guardian system's boundaries would randomly show up during gameplay and not go away. It's not ideal, but it's also clearly a software bug, and you can simply disable that in the Pimax settings. If you go to advanced settings in the Pimax Play and untick the activate chaperone, this can make the Guardian go away. Yes, this headset has a Guardian because it uses inside-out tracking like Quest. There's even a pass-through mode, although it's very simple, very fuzzy black and white one, but it's not meant to play MR games, it's just here to do the job of setting up your boundaries, and it's good for that. And while the headset doesn't save your play space between sessions, setting up is pretty simple, only takes about 20 seconds. You can use a quick setup. Mainly I use this headset for stationary experiences like, you know, if you're playing Microsoft Flight Sim or No Man's Sky, you don't need to move around. You can just choose the quick setup and it's going to create a circle boundary around you. It takes literally 20 seconds. One of the most underrated features of this headset is its compatibility. It doesn't just work with Steam VR, but you can also play OpenXR and even Oculus Rift titles. So if you still have Asgard's Wrath or Lone Echo sitting in your Oculus library, they're going to work, and they look phenomenal on this headset. I'm already planning to replay Lone Echo and Lone Echo 2 just to soak in those visuals, vast space universe all over again. Another big win for me is the built-in audio. You wouldn't believe how many PC VR headsets don't have it, and it's really refreshing to have something right out of the box. Is the stock audio amazing? No, but it works. And more importantly, you can upgrade to the DMAS floating audio solution that they're going to send to you for free if you order your Pimax Crystal Super before June 30th. They hover over your ears and deliver really solid sound quality without clamping anything on your head. Definitely consider adding that if you're planning to go with Crystal Super. One other thing that this headset finally has is eye tracking. The IPD adjustment is automatic. You don't need to fiddle with it. It's just going to find your right position. And it also allows dynamic foveated rendering, and it just works out of the box. I didn't need to set up anything. However, if you want to fine-tune your IPD, you can go to Pimax settings and set it up manually. And you also can fine-tune the settings of the foveated rendering here if you want to control how much it blurs the edges. With previous models, you could order a version of Pimax Crystal Lite with and without controllers. With this one, you're only getting the version with controllers, so there's just one that you can get, and then basically is a ready-to-go headset with inside-out tracking. I've mentioned that you will be able to get the Lighthouse plate for your base stations and your index controllers, but that one is not available right now, so that's not an option. You will need to wait a bit until they manufacture that, and I also don't know how much that's gonna cost, but the previous one was $199. I know that many of you will prefer the base station tracking because it's more accurate, but the inside-out tracking works really good. I didn't run into any issues with the games that I played, but I probably wouldn't still recommend it for the games that require high precision and reaction demanding games like Formula 1 racing or even Beat Saber. The total price for Pimax Crystal Super is $1,783, and if you pre-order, your down payment will be $799. And remember that if you're upgrading from Pimax Crystal, you can get a $200 off. I mentioned that the one I've tested was a 50 ppd version, but the 57 ppd version will also be available. You'll be able to choose which one you want to buy. They will cost the same. And a little over a week ago, they announced yet another version called Crystal Super Ultra Wide, and that one promises ultra wide FOV of 140 degrees. So while the price tag of $1,783 is a pretty high one, considering that everything is right there in the box and you don't need to buy anything extra, is a pretty big deal. There are other headsets that cost even more than that. Take MegaNex, for example, that cost $1899, and it doesn't come with controllers or base stations, so you still need to get those. And you can't return MegaNex, while Pimax Crystal Super will come with a 14-day, no questions asked return policy guarantee. With Pimax Super, the only thing I wish they did is I wish they sold the version of the headset that doesn't include controllers, and that version would be cheaper, so that way users would be able to use this headset with their base stations and save some money, maybe on the technology that they don't need. They could also bundle up that one with the Lighthouse face faceplate and make it basically a Steam VR version, but maybe they will still do it after they manufacture that faceplate. So here's the thing, Pimax Crystal Super is not for everyone. If you don't have a high-end PC, you won't be able to unlock its full potential. But if you do, and if you've been waiting for the headset that nails clarity, build quality, and almost nails comfort all in one package, then this is it. Honestly, it's amazing. There's no visible pixels, no screen door effect, no distracting distortions, no frustrating setup, just bright, vivid, sharp visuals with great ergonomics and a pretty good UI. If you are very observant, you will notice some Mura, but very, very faint, nothing like on PSVR 2, and that's about it when it comes to visual imperfections. You see, that's the kind of headset that I want people to try for the first time when they experience VR, because when you see what VR can actually look like with the right hardware, it totally changes your perception of this technology. Pimax always has been known for pushing their specs beyond limits, but often that was done at the expense of the stability of their software. But now I feel like they're finally getting it right. I was pretty happy with their Pimax Crystal Lite, but Super is even better. I finally feel like I don't have to fight with my Pimax headset to enjoy VR. In fact, I've even started to feel like I'm missing out whenever I'm not playing VR. And that's a really, really good sign. If you're still undecided, then watch my video about Meganex Superlight 8K, and soon I will be dropping my review of Big Screen Beyond 2, a direct competitor of Pimax Crystal Super, but not before I release a review of Play for Dream, a brand new Android-based VR headset that aims to take on Apple Vision Pro. Will it succeed? Subscribe so that you don't miss it and find out soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.